Oh man, if I got to see one more stupid gas take, I'm gonna kill myself. So yeah, gas prices. It cost me about $37 for 8 gallons of gas, and I drive a 2005 Altima. Never before have I ever cared so much about driving practices that could save gas. Fun fact, did you know that during World War II there was a victory speed limit imposed nationally that was 35 miles an hour to preserve gas? I certainly wouldn't be following that because I drive like an asshole. Anyway, wow, who's to blame for gas? So this is the result of, an essential commodity such as gas being held by private ownership instead of by the state. Because our gas is not nationalized, everything is expensive. Basically, because it's left up to the private enterprise, you would think their patriotic duty would be, to release more gas, to drill more, to cut down on prices, and to not, price gouge or take advantage of the situation when that clearly isn't the case. So with the private equity, they're trying to take advantage of the situation and mark up where they can. In the case of Shell gasoline, they're always more expensive. The Shell by my job is like $5.29 with credit. For gas, where everywhere else on the island is $4.30 to 37 cents, something ridiculous like that. It's all ridiculous, but in comparative terms, it's pretty insane. Why is this happening? So a lot of people will blame Russia, and they'll blame like the Russia-Ukraine issue, but really what it is, and that does take a huge toll. But the gas was in the mid to high threes before the Russians had got sanctioned and cut their gas off from Europe. So why was that happening, right? Well, it's inflation. Inflation was causing everything to go up because we don't have price controls in this country, and coming out of COVID, our supply lines were severely screwed up, and we also stopped producing our own gas, and we had to buy from overseas. And of course, they're dealing with their own coronavirus problems, so that impacted the level of the rate that they could pump and produce gas. And they also decided to stiff us because they could, and because we're not energy independent. So it's really like a supply chain issue, a political issue, and now because of Russia invading Ukraine, we, of course, are expected to bail out Europe. So what we did was we decided to open up our strategic reserve and give oil and buy oil for European countries, thus driving the price of our gas higher, even higher, actually. So we have 10% inflation. We have the Ukraine-Russia war, as well as lingering COVID supply problems that are all contributing to basically $5 a gallon of gas. And why is this an issue, right? So a lot of people will say, what I'll hear on the liberal left is they'll say, oh, well, if we had more public transit, or you took the bus, or you had an electrical vehicle, this wouldn't be an issue. You shouldn't blame Biden for the high gas prices. You guys are idiots. You don't know how gas works. If you're complaining about gas, you should get a better job. You're poor if you can't afford gas. You voted Trump if you complain about it. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. And then I'll attack the right wing point of it too, and get to the real point of it. So when people say stuff like that, it's really disingenuous. First off, Biden is partially to blame for this. He shut down the pipeline operations. Protesters had their voices heard with the Dakota Access Pipeline and with the Colonial Pipeline, and basically Biden was like, all right, bet. And the people that voted for me anyway are environmentalists, and they don't want to drill anymore, and they don't want America to be energy independent. So that means not drilling anymore. So he decided to follow through with that and said, all right, I'm not going to drill anymore. I'll just open up the strategic reserve if I have to. Here's why I don't like that claim. And this is kind of where I attack the right-wing point that it's exclusively Biden's fault or any Democrat's fault. The problem is that with both of these is that they only look at the short term. They don't look at the long term, which is that This has been going on for 40 years, actually longer than that, since like the 70s. There was the 1979 oil crisis due to the what was that war? It was a war in Egypt. I forgot what it was. I think it was like the 6 Day War or something with Israel. And basically, there was no gas. It was so bad the government actually had to say, all right, if you have odd number, if your license plate ends in an odd number, you go on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. If your license plate ends on an even number, you go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that. And that's how they rationed out gas, like who could go and get gas or not. So they had they had rations to deal with that. So this has been going on because we get our nose involved in so many ways in other nations' affairs, and that's why we end up getting, biting the bullet at the pump and when heating our homes. And that's basically why this is happening, because we can't stop getting involved. We're involved in OPEC, we're involved in NATO, we're involved in multiple economic treaties that intertwine us. So when there's an issue happening in like Somalia, somehow we're affected and our gas goes up or something like that. So it's basically, that's why this is happening, because of imperialism. We suffer because of rich people wanting to get richer, and it's harder for us to heat our homes, buy affordable food, and get cheap gas. And this is going to lead into more of the what I think is stupid about it. So we're going to now tackle drill, 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 don't drill, don't drill, don't drill. The Republicans want to drill, baby, drill. The Democrats want to say no more drills, green energy. There's problems with both of those. The major problem is if you just drill, drill, drill without any understanding that soon we're going to run out of oil, you're going to be like, well, that doesn't exist. But it's true. Oil, gas and oil, it's a finite resource. So we need to have, a plan to transition out of gasoline and fossil fuels into sustainable energy, renewable energy. But we can't follow the Democrat plan of just cut everything off and just, switch to green energy, because that's going to be painful in the long term. We need a balance, right? We need to open new drills. And then what we need to do is we need to nationalize the oil companies. So kick the owners of the companies out of power, take over the rigs here, right? Nationalize our oil and the machinery here. And drill. Price control on gasoline so it's affordable. And then what we do is we take the excess profits and all the subsidies and the bailouts we gave to the oil lobby and stuff, take that back and throw it into investment in green energy research and building infrastructure, meaning electric vehicle charging stations across the country. That way, electric vehicles will be sustainable. Because one of the major complaints about people buying electric vehicles is, oh, well, there's no electric pump. Like, where do I go? It's not going to be along the way on the road. Electric vehicle charging stations should be as available as a gas pump is. It should be without a question. Of course, there's a charging station. And that should be the norm, and that should be one of the many green alternatives we have. We should have electric buses or, natural gas buses. We should be investing in public transportation through profits gained through the nationalized oil companies. That is how you solve the problem. You drill, you take the profit, and you try to change over to green energy, so that way we don't have to drill anymore and we can be completely self-sufficient and reliant on renewable energy, because you don't have to trade that stuff. It's a good deal for America because it's not screwing over working people, and it's not going radical on either end of it where it's like drill, baby, drill with no plan until we run out and we're screwed, or green energy, green energy, green energy, and we're at like $6 a gallon because we just stopped selling gas and we just expect everyone to buy an electric car. That's very dumb. It blows my mind. I forgot what the other point I was gonna say was. It was something like after I hit that point, green energy. We hit my plan, my idea for that. Yeah. So now when it comes to like. Yeah. Oh, this is another thing. Okay, so prices, right? So if you've noticed this, once the gas prices started going up, lumber, building materials, clothing, food, the heating in your house all went up, it's because a truck brings it to you and a plane flies it to the country and a ship brings it to port. It all requires gas. So gas being $5 a gallon at the pump is how much it is on the international market. It's $5 a gallon. So that means when you're heating your home, you're paying $5 a gallon to fill your oil tank. The trucking companies are paying $5 a gallon to fill up their trucks. Therefore, the shipping costs increase. Therefore, the shipping cost being factored into the product of your t-shirt increases as well with inflation, of course. So average goods are going to get steadily more expensive. For example, let's take my deli down the street. I love this deli, but I'm noticing the effects of it. So of inflation and the gas crisis. So when I order a coffee and a bacon, egg, and cheese, and 2 hash browns, it comes to like $10. Before that would be like $7. If you order just the bacon, egg, and cheese and the coffee, it'll be like, I don't know, $8.50 to $9, give or take. When it used to be $4.50 or $5, $4.50, maybe $5, and before that, when I was in high school, it would be like $3.50. So the amount is going up steadily of how much you have to pay for these goods because of not just inflation but the cost of gas. So shipping cost plays a huge role in determining the cost of a product, so that way you could merit profit, right? You can get profit from it. So say I sell burgers, and my burger is like $3 because of shipping cost. Because $3 before all this stuff, right? It's like $3, and then my gas increases by 200%. So it like, would it be 200%? My gas increases by double. So the gas bills increase by double. So that means the people that bring me my eggs, my cheese, and my eggs, my meat, my bacon, my cheese, all these products, that all goes up by, say, 50 cents per ingredient, right? So that means I have to mark up my product so that way I could still retain a profit and maintain my life. But at the same time, my $3 burger is now $7. And they do this with construction too. Plywood used to be $30. Sheetrock used to be $30 a sheet, and now it's $70. But if you're doing construction or you're building, it's going to be more expensive because the materials are going to get more expensive because you have to bring it from somewhere. You need to use gas to power the machines to cut and shape the wood, the lumber that you're going to use, or the sheetrock you're going to use. There's gas-powered, power tools as well. So it's just, not everything is an electric cord. And, that's more heavy machinery, but you got to factor that in too. So overall, because of the gas prices being in private equity and them trying to mark it up so they can make a huge profit in this, right? As well as with 10% inflation. It's disgusting, which is why we need to nationalize our gas. So that way shipping costs can go down, so it's easier for independent contractors and trucking companies to actually deliver at an affordable rate. It makes it so that small businesses can actually charge, prices that are within their community's wheelhouse. Like we're now seeing, a normal breakfast become almost a good, $2 or $3 off, a restaurant price for a meal. I mean, that's insane. People are going to start, bleeding out of their pockets if they aren't already. To fill up my car at $70 or $80, and I drive a 2005 Altima. So, I shouldn't be paying, truck prices for a car. And trucks have it even worse. Trucks, it's like $100 to $140, depending on how big their tank is. And there's some real gas guzzlers out there. And that's another thing, too. A lot of people, blame people that have pickup trucks or, Suburbans or vans. You do understand that most people that have trucks have a reason for having a truck, right? Because they know, at least in my case, my dad has a truck because when I was, moving into college, he was like, oh, he leases cars. So he's like, I'm just going to lease a truck so I could help you move from place to place. And it came in handy. We also go hunting. How are we supposed to drag a deer from the woods? We can't do that in a 2005 Toyota Camry. You can't do that. What if you need to haul lumber because you're a carpenter and you need to throw in all your materials for the day to the job site? How are you going to do that without a truck? How are you going to, say you're a stonemason. How are you going to haul bricks to a patio construction, in a Tesla, Or how are you going to, you're an iron worker. How are you going to bring your tools and your face shield and your blowtorches and your sandpaper and all this other shit that you use? I don't really know what you guys use. Correct me if I'm wrong, or feel free to laugh at me. But the point is, if I need a truck or a van to carry my tools and materials to get a job done, it's going to burn extra gas because I need the extra power in the engine to take all my heavy crap to the next spot. So people that are blaming others for, blaming people that own trucks and vans, it's like you're so naive, because without those people, your house isn't built, your office isn't built, your house isn't going to get painted, your patio won't be done, your pool won't be installed, your downtown community center won't be built, your church won't be built. These are essential jobs that are necessary for maintaining, regular, your house, critical infrastructure, homes, offices, public centers, subways, commercial districts, industrial districts. These people maintain and construct things that keep our modern society running. So to shame people for owning a truck or a van when they clearly need the truck or the van, that's insane. And there's another thing too. There's going to be someone that's going to say, oh yeah, well, not everyone uses a truck for truck things. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Some people, probably like myself, want a truck or have a truck because they like trucks and they're cool and they like to just burn through a puddle of mud because it's fun, and more power to them. But say you realize that, okay, having a truck might be a stupid idea if I don't have a truck, right? Why do I have this gas guzzler if I don't need it? I'm going to go buy a regular car, an electrical vehicle, or just, a Toyota Camry or something like that. Chip shortages is why you don't. Because during the trade wars between China and the United States, getting chips has become increasingly harder. And now with COVID ruining the supply lines and the manufacturing in South Korea, Taiwan, and of course China, on top of all the trade issues and the inflation, it's almost impossible to get chips. And these chips are needed for new cars, meaning it's harder and more expensive to get a new car off a car lot. Oh, well, I'll just go down the street and pick up a used car. Well, good luck, because now the used car market is hyperinflated because there's no chips, meaning you can't go get a new car at the car lot or even a used car, because the used cars at the car lot are marked up to compensate for the fact that they don't have new cars. So the used car guys are saying, well, I'm not going to be able to afford a new car because there's no new, all the new cars are more expensive and I need a new car, so I have to mark up my older car so I can recoup some of the lost value I'm going to take due to inflation and the chip shortage. So now when you go down the street, a car that would have been $3,000 is $7,500. Or in the case of my friend Derek, who's been on the show many, many times, he went to go buy a truck, something that shouldn't be more than like $7,000, and that's kind of pushing it. He went to go see a 2000 or a 2002 truck for $16,000. You could buy used cars on the lot before this for that price, maybe to 20, pushing it. But $20,000 at most places, if you buy a Toyota or you buy a Ford or something, it for new price before all this stuff happened would be around $20,000 to $25,000. Now you have used cars from 20 years ago at the price of a new car, or a car that's a year older or a model lower. So buying new cars is hyperinflated because of the chip shortage, inflation, and now, we got all this fuel crap going on. So you can't just go buy a new car, because then you also have to mark up your vehicle, because that's how this works. So if you want to buy, say you want to buy another used car. So say you're done with your car, you want cash, and then you're going to go down the street and buy another car. Well, now that car is $7,500, and your car you estimate is worth $5,000, but you're going to get you're not going to be able to pay $5,000 for that car that should be $3,000. Instead, it's now $7,500. So you need to charge $7,500 or more if you want to make a profit off it, to recoup that money and then invest it in a new car. So that's the problem with just buying a new car. It's very difficult to, especially when people have to pay now $5 a gallon for gas. Inflation is at 10%, and heating their home is more expensive, and their wages, while they may be increasing, are not really matching to inflation. So yeah, that's why you can't, this gas thing is so complicated, and you can't just delineate it to rednecks and big trucks and Trump good, and you can't delineate it to libtard bad, Biden old man, communist America. It's not that simple. It's literally 40 years of bad policy and continuous economic failures from a really inept government. That's the whole point. That's how all this is starting. And I'm telling you, we need to nationalize the gas companies, kick all the owners of ExxonMobil and all that crap out of America. The government needs to take over the use of the drills, open new drills, take the money and the subsidies and all that crap, take it back. Take all the profit that we make from the new price-controlled prices from the national gas utility, and invest that into green energy and an infrastructure. That way we can slowly transition out of fossil fuels and actually have green energy in a way that will be beneficial to working people, not in an extra cost, and if anything, a lesser cost than it is for fossil fuels. And gas will be cheaper. I guarantee you, if we nationalize gas will be $1.50. We'll be filling up water guns with gas. That's how much gas we'll have if we nationalize and we drill again. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you listened to the whole thing, thank you. Congratulations, you made it. Make sure you buy cannabis from Jackson Cannabis and use my code CANNA15, so that's CANNA 15 for 15% off your cannabis order. Really good stuff, by the way. And make sure you check out my boy Innate Cleaning. He will make love to your floors and your walls, finesse the hell out of your house. Thank you again for listening to another episode of Backpacking America. This was episode 172. Yeah. So thanks again, and until next time, my friends.